This is a short lesson on ornamentation and trills. Ornamentation is something that we encounter particularly in 19th century music by Sor and Giuliani, and a pretty healthy amount of it in music of the Baroque era. For example, Bach lute suites or cello suites. And it's really with the Baroque era that most students sort of find that they have more questions than answers about ornamentation and what they mean and what the different markings mean. So I'm just going to clear up that a little bit for you. If you have a good reference copy for this lesson, and a good thing to own in general is the Frank Kuntz edition of the Bach lute suites, because there's a very thorough explanation of ornamentation and stylistic matters when playing Baroque music. And also for the purposes of this lesson, I'd like to use the Allemande from the third lute suite to illustrate various types of ornamentation and trills. So I will play the first part of the phrase, the first phrase from the Allemande. It's measures 1. I'll start from the beginning and go to the downbeat of measure 3. Only playing what the ornamentation that's printed on the score. So we have two markings there. At the downbeat of measure 2, we see an appoggiatura. In this case, a very small type B slurred onto a C half note in the melody. So the appoggiatura was an affect, a musical affectation in the Baroque era meant to convey a sighing kind of effect. And so actually the dynamically stronger note, ironically, is written with the very small note head. And so you kind of lean on that dynamically, and it gives it that sighing effect, and then just an ascending slur very naturally performs this sighing effect onto the C, which is the principal note, or the big note head. You can also have an appoggiatura coming from the upper note, or the note above C in this instance. And then of course you would just perform that with a very gentle pull-off or descending slur. In the fourth beat of measure 2, we see the trill marking. In this case, you see it as marked as TR above the melody note. So this means that you're just to trill the stem up note. Sometimes you also see kind of like a crinkle-cut French fry looking thing instead of TR, or like the zigzag pattern. It looks like kind of the zigzag pattern on Charlie Brown's shirt, the black stripe on his yellow shirt. And that trill is played like this in Baroque practice. If you look at the fourth beat there and you see G sharp, in Baroque practice you are to go a note above G sharp, like this, and then play two shakes, what they call two shakes sometimes is fine, like 1, 2, like that, is sufficient. The nature of trills is you can make them longer if you like as well, so you don't always have to do them exactly the same way. If you have enough time, like in a slow movement, you can even do that. That's a cross-string trill. Now that's a more advanced move and technique, but that's done. I'll show you the fingering for a cross-string trill within the context of that harmony. A trill marked over G sharp over an E major chord or E dominant 7 chord. In this instance, you would play so that fingering for the cross string trill is A on the upper note, in this case A, I on the lower note, G sharp, M on the upper note, A, P on the lower note, and that's the cycle. A, I, M, P, A, I, M, P, A, I, M, P, A, I, M, P. And so that's an example of a longer trill, if you have the time. And when you're working with ornamentation, you want to determine how much time you actually have to get in, and that'll determine the number of cycles that you can put in.